Hi, I'd like to share with you my method for making homemade Greek yogurt. Some of the yogurts you can buy in the store are just loaded with sugars and other things you don't really need. And if you make your own yogurt, it comes out amazing. It's rich and creamy, has very little carbs in it, and is perfect for the keto diet. So what you need is some whole milk, some yogurt, a way to incubate the yogurt for a few hours, and a pot to heat the milk in. We'll start with the flame. Keeping it on fairly low. We want to use enough milk to fill the incubator bucket, and maybe a little bit more because it's going to reduce as we heat it. So I'm going to fill this bucket pour it into my pot. Then add what's officially known as a couple more glugs. We're going to let this heat up till it gets just to boiling, just barely simmering. I'm going to put a spoon across here because if it should boil up, the spoon will burst the bubbles that come up and cause it to fall back in the pot instead of spilling over everything and making a huge smelly mess that's hard to clean up. So we're going to let this sit here until it boils, and then my wife taught me this method. We're going to let it sit here and simmer on very low for maybe an hour or two or three, just to reduce some of the moisture in the milk, and that'll give us a richer yogurt with less whey in it. So we will see you in an hour or two. So the milk has been simmering for about an hour or so, and it's reduced significantly. As you can see, it's been simmering. There's a film that forms over the milk. One way to prevent that is to keep stirring it for the entire hour. The other way is to just skim it off at the end. We're going to turn the heat off and let that cool down. We want to get the temperature down to about 110 to 115 degrees. Right now it's at 200. So we're going to let that cool. Once it gets down to 110 to 115 degrees, we'll be back and we'll get this in the incubator. Next step. So we're back and the milk has cooled down to about 110 degrees. I cheated a little bit and I used a water bath. It's just slightly under 110 degrees, but that's okay. There's a little bit of film that formed from the cooling process. Let's get that off. That was elegant. Now we're going to take some regular, unsweetened, unflavored yogurt, and we're going to use it as a starter for the process. Sometimes I've used this yogurt, sometimes I've used the freeze-dried kind. I can get that on Amazon, but this is what I had. So just stir this yogurt in until it's well incorporated. I think I'm going to use a whisk just to make sure it gets mixed in well. As you can see around the edge of the pan, there is some dried milk because the milk did boil up. Not over thanks to the spoon trick. But that will clean up. So the yogurt is well incorporated. Now we're just going to transfer the milk into the container for the incubator. And see, I did add more than this held originally, but we did reduce it significantly, about 30 or 40%. So it fits in here just fine. That'll make a nice thick yogurt. Just place the container inside the yogurt maker. This will hold it at the correct temperature. Plug it in. This will sit here for overnight, maybe 5 to 10 hours, but it doesn't matter. It can sit longer. It'll just be ready when I wake up in the morning. And when I get up in the morning, we're ready for the next step. The next step is to drain all of the whey off the yogurt, and that's what makes it into Greek yogurt. So I'll see you in the morning, and we'll have some fresh yogurt. Good morning. Yesterday we worked on getting our milk ready for making yogurt. We put it in the incubator overnight, and now it's ready to on to the next step. I've actually taken the liberty to take the yogurt out, put it in the refrigerator for a couple hours so that it's nice and firm. We're going to strain it to get rid of some of the liquids. And for straining, we're going to use a chinois. It's a very, very fine mesh sieve. I happen to put it in my 2-quart saucepan because it fits really well. You could use anything. We're going to take the yogurt, scoop as much of it as possible. Into the chinois. Will you reuse this yogurt bucket to store it in later so we don't have to get all of it out? And it will start to drain the liquids out of here. Now, I'm going to let this sit for an hour or two, maybe 3 or 4. Doesn't really matter. It can sit at room temperature for all afternoon if you wanted to. And then as soon as when it's drained completely, we'll have a very thick, rich yogurt. So we're finally ready to enjoy the fruits of our labor. Our yogurt is nicely drained. Let's get back into our yogurt container. As you can tell, it's very, very thick now. And as you can see, there's quite a bit of whey that has come out of the yogurt, and that can just be discarded. We have our final yogurt. A big scoop of yogurt. Some fresh berries. And we're ready for a very healthy and nutritious snack. Very good. It's so amazing. It's so much better than you'll ever find in the store. And it's not that hard to make. It takes some waiting time, but it doesn't take much effort. So I hope you enjoy, and we'll look forward to seeing you next time. Thank you.